Well, after several years, I have finally brought my San Andreas 6 stars playthrough to a proper close by completing Valet Parking with an actual 6-star wanted level. That's right. So this video is going to show you the stuff that I did to get prepared and then the successful run. So just like the final part of my Warriors Lizzie mode playthrough, I'm giving you post commentary for this video and not live commentary. So how did I finally overcome the odds and get past Valet Parking with 6 stars in this game? Well, I pulled off what's known as the infinite time glitch. Now, in case you're wondering, Stu, by infinite time glitch, do you mean completing an objective and running out of time at the same time? No, I don't mean that. No, I know you can do that in the BMX challenge and the NRG challenge. No, I'm talking about a different infinite time glitch. To pull off that infinite time glitch, you need a phone call, and you must use said phone call to trick the game into thinking you're not on a mission when you actually are. I'll talk more about it when the time comes, but what I'm doing at the moment is I'm making my way over to Torino's ranch to get some more minigun ammo, because it is absolutely vital that you have a minigun if you're going to attempt Valet Parking with 6 stars. Now, when I did Valet Parking in the original 6 stars playthrough, I didn't have a minigun, so what I've done here is, to keep things consistent, I've put my weapons and ammo and money back to what they were at that point in the playthrough. For the life of me, I couldn't find the save file that I was using at that point in the playthrough, so I had to resort to downloading somebody else's save file from the internet and then putting all my stuff back to what it was before. And in case you're wondering why my stars keep going back down to 5, yeah, that keeps happening when you're in the desert or the countryside. That's why I keep reactivating my 6 stars. So here we are, minigun ammo. I keep picking it up, saving, and then picking it back up. Yeah, I'm basically farming minigun ammo. Okay, so at this point, I decided that I'd picked up enough minigun ammo, so I decided to make my way over to Las Venturas now. And I realised that my bike is still inside the house. So, when I get back to Las Venturas, what I do there is go to ammunition to buy some satchels. Yet you need minigun ammo and satchel charges. Yep, it's an absolute must. Now, I know you might be thinking, Stu, at this point in your playthrough, you should have collected all 50 horseshoes, which means you'll have free satchels outside the 4 dragons. Aha, well, remember I said that I downloaded somebody else's save file? Well, the owner of that save file hadn't collected all the horseshoes, and so I'm forced to go to ammunition to buy some. Now, going back to the phone call that I mentioned earlier on, at this point in the playthrough, because I've completed absolutely everything, the only phone calls that I can get at this point in the game are either girlfriend phone calls or casino phone calls. And by casino phone calls, I mean the phone calls that you get when your money is in the red. Yeah, when you have a negative amount of money. The catch is, you only get those phone calls from the casino if you have minus $500 or less. Yeah, so basically if you have between -1 and -499, you don't get the phone call. So once I've gambled all my money away, I will talk about the infinite time glitch in greater detail. But first, satchels. As far as I could tell, I didn't get shot by anybody as soon as I stepped out of ammunition. A quick reminder, if the last vehicle that you drove in this game was a bike, for some reason that makes enemies less accurate. So, does that mean that completing architectural espionage with OHKO and a wanted level is actually possible? Oh god, don't tempt me, don't tempt me. Right, I was furious at this point because I totally forgot there's more than one soldier at a roadblock, so I had to get armour yet again. At this point, I reload my save to get rid of those soldiers, and then I put my wanted level back on. Also, a quick reminder, when you honk the horn in this game, it causes people, including cops, to flinch, which is very handy for Valet Parking with 6 stars. Right, at this point, I save, and then I reload my save, and make my way inside the casino to start gambling. Okay, at this point, I have the correct amount of money to cause those casino phone calls to get triggered. A little fun fact, by the way. This feature was originally going to be in Vice City. Yeah, basically, the owner of Sunshine Autos, BJ Smith, was in debt to a loan shark. But when Tommy Vercetti buys Sunshine Autos, he then becomes responsible for BJ's debts, and the loan shark keeps harassing Tommy. And there's said phone call. And here we have the successful attempt at Valet Parking with 6 stars. Now, first of all, I need to trigger the infinite time glitch. Yeah, you have to trigger the infinite time glitch and then complete Valet Parking, both in the same run or same session. So, here's how I'm going to pull off the infinite time glitch. I'm going to make my way to Hunter Quarry and skip the first 6 missions, and then I'm going to activate the 7th quarry mission and receive the casino phone call at the same time. What that's going to do is it will allow me to have the quarry mission running and allow me to start another mission at the same time. Yeah, I'll be able to have multiple missions running at the same time. The reason that works is because when your phone rings, the game puts you on mission, and then once that phone call ends or it gets cancelled, the game then puts you off mission. So by starting the quarry mission and receiving the phone call at the exact same time, you're confusing the game. And now the reason I switched my wanted level off is because, well, you can't start the quarry missions with a wanted level, and you can't receive phone calls with a wanted level either. Okay, so again, I'm going to skip the first 6 missions. Well, when I skip the 5th one, I move away from the red marker and then skip it. And then I go into aim mode with a gun and stay in aim mode while standing in the red marker. Because when you aim a gun, that stops you from receiving phone calls as well. Now, the casino phone calls are a wee bit different compared to most other phone calls in this game. I think with most phone calls, you receive them every 15 seconds or so, but with the casino phone calls, you have to wait a full 60 seconds to get that phone call again. Okay, a minute has almost passed, so what I need to do now is do what's known as pause buffering, which will allow me to trigger the 7th quarry mission and receive the phone call at the same time more easily. If you don't pause buffer, it probably won't work. And there you go. If the phone rings just before the quarry mission begins, you've done it right. And as you can see, the red marker is still here, and the quarry mission is still running. Now, the reason I killed a cop right there is because if I didn't do that, my stars would keep going down to 5, which is most annoying. You'll also notice that I picked up my revenue at the quarry. The reason I did that is so I have enough money to afford food at the pizza shop near the Van Hoff Hotel, because that will allow me to refill my health if need be. Now, I know you're thinking, oh, but Stu, when you step out of a building with 6 stars in this game, you get the John Marston treatment when you step out. Yeah, in other words, you get absolutely annihilated by on-foot cops who are waiting for you outside. Well, thankfully, when you step out of that pizza shop, you don't take all that much damage. No, I think some buildings are worse than others when it comes to John Marston treatment. Yeah, in other words, you take more damage when you step out of some buildings, if that makes sense. Okay. I recommend using Quarry Mission 7 for the infinite time glitch, and it's simply because of all the quarry missions in the game, that one has the longest time limit, and you need as much time as possible in order to start Valet Parking with the quarry mission still running. And yes, a roadblock sometimes spawns on that road. Yep, it's roadblock land again, everybody. Memories. And a megacop always spawns here too. Right, at this point I switch my wanted level off again. For 2 reasons. 1, you can't start Valet Parking with a wanted level. And 2, I've often found that law enforcement vehicles spawning when you first arrive here can fuck up the civilian traffic spawns. Now, as you can see, I have 2 missions running at the same time, Quarry and Valet Parking. And the Quarry mission timer has overwritten the Valet Parking timer, that's right. And best of all, because that's happened, killing the valets doesn't actually give you a 20-second penalty. So you can take as long as you need, and you can kill the valets all you want. And now the reason I planted a satchel on that second pillar from the left is because whenever you start a new level of valet parking, new valets spawn, but you can use satchels to kill the valets from a distance. Yeah, if the valets get in the cars before you, it'll just make things harder. And by the way, in case you're wondering what happens when the quarry timer runs out, I'll tell you what happens. The timer goes away altogether and you still have infinite valet time. But there is a catch. Yeah, you have to be very careful about this. If there's no other mission timer on the screen when you start a new valet parking level, the valet parking timer will come back. Yeah, in other words, things will go back to normal, and you will get the valet killed penalty. But you can rectify that by doing something very, very simple. Before you start a new level, simply get in a law enforcement vehicle and start Vigilante. That's right. So again, as long as there's a different mission timer on the screen when you go into a new valet parking level, the valet parking timer will still get overwritten. And by the way, I found that the three cars that tend to park in the carport the most are Elegance, Feltzers, and Previons. And a good way to stop tanks from blocking the entrance to the car park is to quite simply drive around the big pointy building to the south. And that seems to make them go away. And in case you're wondering what that second explosion was, it was my Sanchez getting caught in the satchel explosion. Now, soldiers don't always get out of their tanks. And the reason that soldier instantly warped out of his tank is because the left side of the hatch was blocked, which stopped him from doing the exit tank animation. And yes, the car got a wee bit caught in the Sanchez explosion, but thankfully, as you saw, when you get in a customer's car for the first time, its health gets refilled. Yes, soldiers always get out of their trucks when you go near them on foot, but with tanks, that's not the case. They don't always get out. But luckily you can force them out by simply trying to hijack the tank. Now, something else that you can do to make this mission a wee bit easier with 6 stars. You can do what's known as the headless truck driver trick. Basically, if you decapitate a truck driver when the truck is driving quickly enough, the game will still think the truck has an alive driver, and it will stay in memory, which will stop the game from replacing that truck with a different army vehicle. Yeah, so again, it only works if you decapitate the driver and the truck doesn't stop too soon, and I think it will also only work if the passenger survives. Now, annoyingly enough, the carport car spawns sometimes get fucked up. There are a few things you can do to fix that. What I do here is, I go into the northwest corner of the car park and stay there for a few seconds, and that sometimes resets the spawns. You can also drive all the way around the back of the hotel, yeah, not too far from Michelle's house, and that sometimes makes them come back as well. But just be careful not to go too far away from the hotel, otherwise the mission will fail. Yeah, you'll fail the mission if you run out of time, go too far away from the hotel, or if a customer's car gets destroyed before you park it. Yeah, once you've parked a customer's car, you can destroy it all you want. It's before you've parked it when the mission will fail if it gets destroyed. Now you'll find that later on in this mission, when I'm doing the vigilante timer thing, the text on the screen disappears. You know, the cars to park text and the damage text. It disappears. And something else that disappears. The carport cars. Yeah, sometimes when a blue blip appears on the radar, if you go too far away from that car and point the camera away from that car, it can make the car disappear. But if you're close enough, that tends not to happen. That's why you'll sometimes see me facing the camera in the direction of the carport as I'm leaving the car park. And you'll also find that in the later levels, there's a car waiting to be serviced subtitle disappears as well, as a result of doing the vigilante timer thing. Yeah, when there's a soldier kicking about, try to kill him first. And it's simply because his M4 inflicts a huge amount of damage. Per shot. Yeah, per shot. You see, with the infinite time glitch, it makes things much easier with 6 stars. The reason I'm doing this is because I just think that the law enforcement spawning can really fuck up the carport car spawns. So in my opinion, when you're trying to do this mission with 6 stars, your biggest enemy is the time limit. But with infinite time, it's much easier. And I'm glad that was a Feltzer, because if it was any other car, that tank would have blown me up. Yeah, the good thing about convertibles is CJ quickly hops inside it, instead of taking forever and a day to open the door and get his ass inside. Right, so as you can see, there's no timer on the screen anymore, so what I have to do now is get a law enforcement vehicle and start vigilante. Because again, if I was to start the next level with no timer on the screen, the Valet Parking timer comes right back, and things go back to normal. And you've got to really watch out for shotgunners in this mission with 6 stars as well. But thankfully, I don't think you will ever have 2 shotgunners in the same car. Speaking of shotguns, notice how sometimes the soldiers have shotguns. As far as I know, they never use them. Only M4s. I guess it's kind of comparable to the SWAT officers, FBI agents and soldiers never shooting at you from their roadblocks in Vice City. But cops at their roadblocks do. Okay, so with a vigilante timer on the screen, the Valet Parking timer has been overwritten. So because there's a car waiting to be serviced message isn't appearing on the screen, you've got to rely on the radar to see when cars are available for servicing. I got a bit worried back there because I thought that truck was going to stop on top of me and kill me. And I'm sad to say that did actually happen during one attempt at this mission. Yeah, it was when I had 4 cars left to park on the 5th and final level. I couldn't believe it. Right, new satchel. Remember, the second pillar from the left. Yeah, so because those 2 trucks have headless drivers in them, the game thinks there's still an alive driver in them, and so, because there's 2 of them, only 1 army vehicle will come after me now, although mega cops still spawn. And in case you're wondering, Stu, what's a megacop? Megacop is what I call those overclocked cop cars that spawn at junctions when you have stars. Yeah, so when you have 6 stars, a maximum of 3 army vehicles can come after you. But on very rare, and I mean very, 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 very rare occasions, you'll get chased by 4 army vehicles at once. But given that I've been playing this game for decades, and I think I've only seen that happening to me twice, it is indeed extremely rare for that to happen. Yeah, I was pissed at that point because, as you saw, that Previon was going to park in the carport, but the gunfire scared him off. Yeah, another reason why this mission is frustrating with 6 stars. Gunfire and explosions can scare the drivers away, and that can mess up the spawns. Annoyingly, something else that fucks up the spawns and scares drivers away. The police helicopter, yeah, just the police helicopter flying overhead and not even shooting at you can make drivers shit in their pants. But luckily, this is the PC version, so I can quite simply trigger a replay to make the helicopter fly away. There's hardly anything that makes the police helicopter fly away in GTA 3. I think the only 2 things that do make it fly away are going into the subway and going into the Porter Tunnel. Oh, and by the way, don't bother getting into the customers' cars after you park them, because, well, yes, you can get in them. Yeah, that's the good news, but the bad news is they're glued to the floor. You can't drive them anymore. However, if I'm not mistaken, if it was another valet that parked that car, you can drive it. Yes, I think the car superglue thing only comes into effect if you were the one who drove the car. Yeah, so go to the northwest corner of the car park, because that sometimes fixes the spawns, but sadly not always. I was a bit surprised to see this ZR here, given that it's normally Feltzer's Elegance and Previons, as I said earlier on. Yeah, so try to face towards the carport as you're leaving the car park. Now wait for it, wait for it. Yes, boom. My stupid ass accidentally destroyed both those trucks when I was shooting those cops earlier on. Which means the game is now going to replace those 2 trucks with live army vehicles. Yeah, quick reminder, when you go near a cop, you can honk the horn to make him flinch. Yeah, I tried to do the headless truck driver thing here, but that truck came to a stop too early, and so his body fell out. Yeah, if the truck stops too early, the headless driver's body falls out, and the trick doesn't work anymore. Right, so again, there's 1 vehicle left to park in this level, but there's no timer, so I've got to start Vigilante again. Otherwise, the Valet Parking timer comes back at the start of level 4. And there have been quite a few occasions where a tank has come out of nowhere when I'm trying to park a car. Now, thankfully, after you've entered a customer's car, you can go, well, almost as far away from it as you want, and it won't despawn. So I left the car in front of the marker without touching it, and then got this tank to start Vigilante. As you can see, my health is getting uncomfortably low, so pizzas are calling my name. Speaking of pizzas, if you go into the Interiors universe, any satchels that you planted disappear, and that's why I bought more than 5. And I'll tell you something, getting out of that car with those cops surrounding me was extremely reckless and dangerous. Although to be fair, or to be honest, I had to get more health anyway. And I had low health before I got shot by those cops anyway. You see, they don't always get out, but you can force them out by trying to hijack the tank. Now I make the point of picking up other guns, and it's to allow me to at least have some kind of gun in case I run out of minigun ammo. Yeah, so again, going into the Interiors universe makes satchels disappear, which is why I didn't plant a satchel right then and there, because my plan at this point was get more health from the pizza shop. But first, I get this tank, and there's a very good reason why. This tank will allow me to make a quick and much more reliable getaway after I come out of the pizza shop. Now, on the topic of getting more health, I know it's possible to do the infinite armor glitch to also make things easier, and that also involves receiving a phone call and starting the quarry mission at the same time. I think you could also do the infinite health glitch by having the restaurant menu on the screen at all times. Yeah, see, as you saw, I didn't take that much damage at all from those cops. Yeah, so the infinite armor glitch basically allows you to have the ammunition menu on the screen at all times. And the infinite health glitch involves having the restaurant menu on the screen at all times. Although I'm not sure if that would work as well as the infinite armor glitch. And it's because, well, I know that if you eat too many meals in a short space of time, you vomit. And I think that causes the restaurant menu to close automatically. I'm so glad that was a truck and not a tank. If it was a tank, I would have kissed this mission attempt goodbye. Very, very much so. Going inside the Interiors universe sometimes fixes the carport car spawns as well. I'll tell you something, there were a lot of occasions where I would get crushed by wrecked car parts landing on top of me. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there was one occasion where that happened, and there was a cop nearby and I got busted by him. That was a risk worth taking. Yeah, I found that when tanks are in a tight spot like that, when they're trying to drive forward for long enough, they will soon reverse. Yeah, knowing how the AI works when you have 6 stars is key to helping you get past this mission with 6 stars. Right, that's how to do the headless truck driver trick properly. As long as the truck is moving quickly enough, it won't stop too early, and therefore the truck driver won't fall out.
You want me? Come get me.
I almost got pit maneuvered by that fucking cab driver. I remember there was at least one of my failed attempts at this mission with 6 stars where I got blocked or fucked up in some way, shape or form by a civilian driver, and I failed the mission because of him. Now, I would destroy those tanks with a flamethrower or Molotovs, but I ain't got either of those weapons, because the minigun and satchels are much more helpful. And when you see a tank coming towards you in this area, try to deal with him as soon as possible. By the way, I know earlier on I said that when you get in a customer's car for the first time, its health gets refilled. I don't think it works if the car gets destroyed or bursts into flames before you get in it. I think if that happens, when you get in the car for the first time, yes, the flames do go away, but the car still blows up, unfortunately. Yeah, it still blows up as if it was still on fire. Okay, and because we're on level 4, I only have to start Vigilante once more. And it also means I don't have to plant any more satchels. Yeah, I go back here to try and fix the spawns yet again. Right, watch that Feltzer. Watch that Feltzer. And there it goes. Now, as you can see, I forgot to trigger Vigilante, but I do remember about it in a few seconds. It's crazy how many cops suddenly spawn on foot when you get out of your vehicle. Also, I don't know what causes double vehicle explosions. I'll take out those guys first and then hop in the car. Right, an even bigger risk right here. Ah, now, that truck in the northwest corner. I've sometimes noticed that army vehicles do sometimes spawn in that place, and they end up getting stuck in the floor. And because they can't move, well, they stay in memory. But if it's a truck, whatever you do, don't go too close to it when you're on foot, because the guys will get out. If it's a tank, the soldier might get out, but not always. Also, Stu, tell us, how did you get 7 cars to park? I'm not 100% sure, but I think the rain can sometimes affect the carport car spawns as well. I think night can sometimes affect it too. Yeah, at this point, I kill this donut muncher to stop him from harassing me when I get out of the car. Stu, was he not harassing you before you killed him anyway? I guess so. Now, how that wrecked truck part didn't knock me over is beyond me, but who cares? It didn't. I'm not complaining. I'm just making an observation. Oh look, the DA from 555 WeTip got a new car. Same colour, different car. I'm so glad I killed that cop when I did, because as you saw, he had a shitty shotgun. Now, if I had a pound for every time I switched the sniper rifle by mistake, or at least a weapon except the minigun, I'd be rich.
You got a job with a name badge, fool?
I wasn't sure if I was even going to be able to kill that soldier from where I was and where he was, but I was pleasantly surprised. He didn't shoot at me even once, or didn't damage me at all. Now at this point I almost shot the car by mistake. Yeah, in a situation like that, I think the best thing to do is to shoot the cops in their feet to avoid hitting the car behind them. Because the minigun is the most powerful gun in the game.
With a maniac. Hey, go chase some other fool.
Your mother drop you as a
You
child?
clowns.
Okay. Now at this point, I noticed that I lost a very uncomfortable amount of health. Also, I'm sad to say that at this point in the video, for quite a while, the carport car spawns are temporarily screwed. Yeah, I tried to do quite a few things to try and fix the spawns, but for a long time, nothing just seems to work. So, I'm also sad to say that we've reached, in my opinion, the worst part of the video.
If I stop you, dead.
But I do need more health, as you can see.
I'm down for this shit. Ain't you got nothing else to do?
So I go down here to try and fix the spawns. The usual classic northwest corner of the car park trick to try and fix the spawns. But spoiler alert, it doesn't work. Also, on the topic of going into the pizza shop to get more food, it's a shame because if you've managed to get some trucks stuck in the car park by taking the driver's heads off, going into the interiors universe will erase those trucks from memory, and they get replaced by live army vehicles again.
It's on now.
So at this point, I went inside to get, not just to get more food, but also to hopefully fix the spawns. Yeah, always have that minigun at the ready when you step outside. Yeah, if you don't have a tank of your own before you go inside the pizza shop, get the nearest tank that comes to you as fast as you can, and pray that the soldier gets out. Because I remember there was one time during a failed attempt at this mission, I was on level 5, I think I had 5 cars left to park, and I got crushed to death by a tank outside the pizza shop because the driver wouldn't get out. Yes, CJ, I quite agree. That tank driver who crushed me was a punk ass bitch. Right, so at this point in the video, I'm driving around like crazy and going into the northwest corner of the underground car park, and also going back and forth to the pizza shop in desperate attempts to make the carport car spawns come back, shall we say. To repair them. Yeah, even doing this can sometimes fix the spawns, but on this occasion, it doesn't, I'm afraid. Now, see those cars on the right? I was hoping that at least one of them would park.
I'm really losing my shit now.
But even though they were so close and nearby, moving the camera away made them disappear. I was hoping that blue car up there, outside Victim, would park as well. But I wasn't going to find out because my tank got blown up. So I made a mad dash back to well-stacked pizza. It looks like CJ has taken the phrase "eat lead" a bit too literally. Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised that you don't take that much damage when you step out of that pizza shop with 6 stars. You think you'd get annihilated, but you don't really. Well, yeah, you get shot, but not demolished. Yeah, I think at that point, I replied to the helicopter guy and I said something like, "Yeah, I am in trouble now." Yeah, I was getting really annoyed and also very worried that at this very, very, very late stage in the mission, the spawns were just totally fucked. Because nothing that I was doing was wanting to work. And if the spawns really were permanently fucked, that would have been a massive shame, a massive kick in the teeth.
Give me a break.
So again, gunfire can scare the drivers away, but at that point, a few seconds ago, I wouldn't have been close enough to make the drivers hear me. Yeah, I was hoping that white Elegant over there would park. But, once again, no such luck. Even pointing the camera downwards to try and fix the spawns just wasn't working either. Yeah, I was hoping those cars would park, well, at least one of them anyway. Yes, again, you can trigger a replay on the PC version right here to make the police helicopter fly away. And stop it from making the drivers shit their pants. Yeah, I think I was thinking about doing the headless driver glitch on that truck, but I changed my mind because it would have been a bit pointless given that I was going to be going inside the pizza shop very soon anyway. And I almost had a heart attack because a cop a few seconds ago almost busted me in the car park. And tanks are slow. Yes, I know it takes a while for cops to climb on top of the tank to open the hatch, but still, tanks don't move all that fast. I had visions of that tank running me over and turning me into a different kind of pizza for that pizza shop. Yeah, pavement pizza. Now, I almost had a heart attack at this point as well because I thought that soldier was going to bust me. Yeah, what happened was I realised that I wasn't able to move when behind the wheel of that tank, or behind the levers of that tank, because you control a tank with levers, not a steering wheel. Yeah, so I realised I couldn't move that tank from where it was. So I was mashing the exit vehicle button and praying that I was able to get out before that soldier could bust me. And thankfully, I won. Hashtag ammo conservation. Yeah, at this point the game may as well be a survival horror.
I'm down for this shit.
Yeah, once again, the northwest corner of the car park strat has refused to bloody work.
That's mine.
Now at this point, I park this Merit in the carport, and then I go a certain distance away from the carport to see if the game will think my own car is a customer's vehicle.
Get real nasty.
Unfortunately, that doesn't work either, as you can see. I could be wrong, but I think that trick does work if you start a new Valet Parking level. Yeah, basically, if you park your own car in the carport, leave it there, and then start a new level, the game will think that the car that you left there is a customer car. So I think that's the case. And by the way, see that cop car that parked to my right after I left the Merit at the carport? I'm so glad that the passenger that got out wasn't a shotgunner, because if he was, given how much health I had, or have, he would have killed me, I think. Because shotguns really can sting. And guess what? I almost had another heart attack right there because I thought that car was going to crush me because of that tank driver. Right, I'm running very low on minigun ammo, as you can see. Now at this point I thought I was a goner, but thankfully I got lucky because those soldiers don't seem to know what a trigger is. Well, not the ones in the trucks anyway. As in truck. And I think at this point I go inside victim to see if that fixes the spawns. Yeah, I was wondering if maybe going into a different interior would fix the spawns. Yeah, I thought, let me try victim and not the pizza shop for once. Yeah, I was also hoping that just leaving my tank here for a while would make cars spawn. But as you can see, all that's spawning are more trucks and tanks. Fucks and wanks. Right, so I try victim at this point, and you're about to find out that unlike the pizza shop, cops spawn in here. Stu, atrocious aim. Did you even have one in the first place? Nice work. And just like the pizza shop, hardly any damage taken right there. And I bet any amount of money that blade was going to park in the carport. I bet it was. So, at this point, I tried something that I hadn't tried during this attempt at the mission. After I trigger another replay to make the helicopter go away. Yeah, I go to the top of the big pointy building, because that can sometimes repair the spawns as well. But at the moment, as you can see, there's only tanks down there. And by the way, you get the John Marston treatment when you step out of this building as well, even though you're not even in the Interiors universe. So at the moment, no civilian cars. Did you hear that? We have to go back for Pa. Right. See that? A red car. I was absolutely positive that that car was going to go in the carport. But then, Dickface Von Penis Licker back there in the cop uniform fired his gun and made the driver shit his pants. I was absolutely raging at that cop. Yeah, if I'd gone just a wee bit further away from that cop, or maybe even killed him before he could pull the trigger, I'm fairly certain that that red car would have parked in the carport. So I tried the northwest corner glitch once again, but once again it didn't work. As you can no doubt tell from no blue stuff appearing on the radar. So what do I do now? I try the big pointy building strat again. Just don't go too far south, because if you do, you'll fail the mission for leaving the area.
You think you hard, officer?
I don't think they can hear you from up here, CJ. Right, as you can see, once again, no civilians, just army. Damn civilian, as they say in GTA 3. Right, good news, a car did spawn. Bad news, not in the right place. I was hoping that blue car would go in as well, but once again, no such bloody luck. Not even that car over there is going in. Yeah, if that car was going in the carport, it would have turned left by now. So I think at this point I tried the car park corner strat one last time. And then I bite the bullet upon realising it doesn't fucking work. And yes, tanks are bulletproof and explosion proof, but they're not fireproof or damage proof. Just a few rams from other tanks is all it'll take to wreck your own one. So what do? Yep, I tried the big pointy building for the third time. Yeah, I was hoping third time's the charm. Yep, I was so hoping for third time's the charm. And lo and behold, look at that. Do you see what I see? You sure do. A civilian car. And it's definitely not going into the carport. Oh, it definitely fucking is, my friend. So that's the good news, but the bad news is, watch the radar. It vanished into thin fucking air. But folks, the good news is about to come right back. Yes. Watch that blue feltzer. Just you watch. Just you watch that blue feltzer. Don't look away. Well, you can now. Right. Don't look away. Don't you fucking dare look away. And there it goes. And I think it was that tank blowing up that cost me a fuck ton of health right there. Right, at this point I get absolutely fucking surrounded by cops and the army. And law enforcement and shiz. And the fact that they're not getting out of their tanks wasn't helping. I was praying that that car wasn't going to get destroyed. I was also praying that I wasn't going to get destroyed either, given how much health I had left.
This gonna get real nasty, fool.
I'm so glad I didn't accidentally blow up the truck right there. Now, how I survived right here is completely beyond me. Especially given that the helicopter was shooting at me as well, but who cares? I survived. And I'm finally going to park another car. The penultimate car at that. Right. At this point, my plan was to go back to the pizza shop once again to get more health. Yep, that was my plan. Yep, emphasis on was. Emphasis on was.
Fucking me up.
But then this happened. And at this point I didn't care what army vehicles were in the area. I just wanted to grab it and go. I didn't even bother using the minigun to take out the cops on foot. And as you can see, the entrance is blocked by a tank. So I drove around the big pointy building. And I almost had another heart attack. Because that cop car could have blown me sky high. But thankfully he didn't hit me hard enough. Yeah, sometimes driving around the big pointy building can sort out the tanks in the car park. Well, yes, it made the tank come out of the car park, but he's still kicking about. I was a bit angry at that point, but thankfully I was able to go this way again without too much trouble. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I finally realised that the coast is now finally clear. And there we go. So it is possible to complete valet parking with an actual 6-star wanted level. There you go. I'm so glad I finally did it properly. I mean, the fact that in the original playthrough... How do I say it? Yeah, in the original playthrough, I completed valet parking in the 6 stars playthrough, but I didn't actually have a 6-star wanted level. That, to me, was... It was like an elephant in my room. and so I'm glad I was finally able to do it properly. Well, before I end this video, I'm going to give you a couple of outtakes. Stay solid and don't let Valet Parking bite.